The first wave of crisis was triggered by an unprecedented surge of immigrants at the borders of Texas and California. As Texas bolstered its defenses, the flow of immigrants shifted towards California, particularly through less guarded areas. This in turn sparked a controversial debate, with some suggesting that federal aid should be redirected from California to Texas. But the immigration crisis didn't stop at the border. As though drawn by a magnet, migrants began setting up encampments on college campuses, drawn by the promise of food, water, and shelter. This ignited a new crisis as protests erupted across the nation's universities, further straining resources and fueling tensions. As if these challenges weren't enough, the nation was hit by a third crisis: the spread of fentanyl and other drugs across the border. Law enforcement efforts were overwhelmed by the sheer volume of drugs entering the country, particularly through backpack operations, which allowed smaller quantities to slip through the cracks. This influx of drugs began to infiltrate urban areas and college campuses, the very same campuses already grappling with protests and migrant encampments. In the midst of this, law enforcement found itself in a bind. With resources diverted to managing protests and the migrant influx, there was less capacity to address other community concerns. This led to a rise in crimes such as theft, home burglaries, and street racing. These intertwined crises have significant policy implications. For instance, the question of whether participants in anti-Israel protests should be eligible for federal student loan forgiveness has sparked heated debate. The decisions made in response to these crises could have far-reaching implications for political activism, fiscal responsibility, and the broader societal landscape. In conclusion, the United States finds itself in a precarious position, grappling with multiple crises that continue to intersect and escalate. Policymakers are faced with the daunting task of finding nuanced solutions that address the root causes of these issues, while also respecting the rights and needs of all stakeholders involved. The path forward is uncertain, but the need for comprehensive and inclusive strategies is clear. As these crises continue to unfold, it will be crucial to stay informed and make strategic decisions based on the evolving landscape.